The unseen strength of Kai-dun. Kai-dun walked through the front gates of Alder Ridge High School for the first time with a sense of cautious optimism. 16 years old and a recent transfer from a quiet district upstate, Kai wasn't looking for attention. He didn't want to stand out, didn't want drama, didn't want any part of the loud cliques or social climbing that dominated the halls of most high schools. All he wanted was a fresh start, a clean break from the chaos of the city where he'd grown up, where his reputation as a martial arts prodigy often brought more trouble than admiration. He wore a gray hoodie, plain jeans, and sneakers that had seen better days. There was nothing flashy about him, on purpose. His mother, Selena Dunn, had taught him how to blend in, how to stay calm, how to use his strength for protection, not intimidation. She had once been a professional boxer, feared in her prime and respected long after she hung up the gloves. She was Kai's only family, his mentor, his foundation. But peace is a fragile thing in the ecosystem of a high school. As Kai stood at his locker on that first morning, trying to memorize the combination, a shadow fell over him. Then came the sound of a fist slapping metal. "Yo, fresh meat," said a tall, broad-shouldered boy with a buzz cut. His varsity basketball jacket hung open, revealing a smug grin beneath sharp cheekbones. "You're new here, yeah?" Kai turned slowly and saw 3 boys, the speaker, clearly the ringleader, and 2 others who flanked him like wolves trailing their alpha. "That's right," Kai said simply. "I'm Blake Harmon," the leader said, his voice carrying the weight of self-entitlement. "This is my school. And around here, new kids pay a protection fee. $100 a month. Keeps accidents from happening. You get what I'm saying?" Kai blinked. Not out of confusion, but out of disappointment. He had hoped this place might be different. "I don't have $100. And I don't need protection." One of the flunkies, Logan, based on the name stitched into his jacket, snorted. "You trying to be funny, or just stupid?" "I'm saying," Kai replied, locking his locker. "Leave me alone." Blake's grin faltered. No one ever said no to him, certainly not on day one. "You got guts, I'll give you that." "After school. Parking lot. Let's see if you've got anything else." Kai didn't flinch. "You're making a mistake." Blake leaned in. "No, you just did." The news traveled fast. By the time the last bell rang, more than 100 students were packed around the parking lot, phones ready, the crowd buzzing with anticipation. Fights weren't uncommon at Alder Ridge, but few dared challenge Blake Harmon. Kai walked into the crowd with the same calm he used before every tournament back home. Hands in his hoodie pocket, eyes steady, feet light. He didn't plan to fight. But he wouldn't run. "You showed up," Blake said, cracking his knuckles. Kai looked around at the students recording the scene. He didn't like attention, but he understood one truth better than most. Bullies loved an audience. Which meant, if he was going to end this, he had to do it clearly. Blake came at him fast with a wide haymaker, the kind meant to knock a person off their feet for the crowd's entertainment. But Kai stepped aside like he was avoiding a falling leaf. Blake's momentum carried him forward, and he stumbled, confused. The crowd murmured. Blake turned, swung again, this time lower, quicker. But again, Kai moved just enough to avoid it, fluid and precise. "I don't want to hurt you," Kai said. "Walk away." Blake roared and charged. Kai spun and delivered a perfect roundhouse kick that landed on Blake's jaw with a loud, echoing crack. Blake's body collapsed like a sack of bricks. The silence was total. The crowd froze, stunned. Kai knelt beside Blake, whose eyes were dazed and unfocused. "Next time," Kai said calmly, "think before you try to bully someone." Then he stood, turned, and walked away. But before he could reach the edge of the crowd, Blake screamed and lunged up with a knife, small, cheap, the kind you'd buy in a gas station. The crowd gasped and backed up. Kai turned around slowly, gaze locked on Blake. "Put it down," he said. "You don't get to walk away." Blake shouted and ran forward. Kai sidestepped, grabbed Blake's wrist, twisted it until the blade fell to the ground, and then delivered a crushing elbow to Blake's ribs. Blake crumpled again, this time moaning. Kai picked up the knife, held it out to Blake's friends. "Take him. Tell him never to do that again." The boys took the knife and helped Blake up, avoiding Kai's eyes. A teacher arrived. The crowd scattered. Later that night, Kai sat on the couch, staring at the blank TV screen. His hands were steady, but his mind raced. He didn't like violence. He never had. But sometimes, violence found you. The front door opened. Selena walked in, her expression unreadable. She placed her keys on the table. "I got a call from the school." Kai stood. "It wasn't my fault." He pulled a knife. She nodded slowly. "I believe you. But you know the rule." Kai swallowed. "The basement." She nodded once. Their basement wasn't like most. It was a dojo. Mats, gloves, bags. Discipline. Respect. Growth. Selena waited on the mat. Kai stepped forward. You want to test me? I want to see if you still remember what I taught you. They bowed. And then, the lesson began. The next morning, Kai arrived at school to whispers. Some stared in awe, others in suspicion. But he kept walking. At his locker, he heard footsteps behind him. A boy stepped into view, tall, with short cropped hair, a thick frame, and a wrestling jacket. You're the one who dropped Blake? He asked. Kai turned slowly. And you are? Colt Harmon, his older brother. Kai exhaled. I figured. I'm the captain of the wrestling team. After school. Gym. Let's see what you're really made of. Kai raised an eyebrow. Is this a school tradition, or just a family thing? Colt didn't laugh. Just be there. Word spread fast. Again. That afternoon, the gym was packed. Students filled the bleachers, whispers flying. Kai stepped into the center. No nerves. No fear. Colt was bigger. Stronger. Trained in wrestling. This was his turf. You ready? Colt asked, cracking his neck. Kai nodded. The match began. Colt lunged, trying to grab Kai's waist. Kai ducked, moved, let Colt stumble past. The crowd oohed. Colt spun, growled, charged again. This time, Kai didn't dodge. He pivoted, grabbed Colt's arm, and flipped him with a judo throw. Colt slammed to the mat. Gasps filled the room. Colt got up, furious. They circled. He came again. This time, Kai used a mix of martial arts styles, quick steps, fluid hands, perfect timing. He trapped Colt's arm behind his back. Tap, Kai whispered. Colt resisted. For 3 seconds. Then his hand hit the mat. The room exploded. Colt lay on the ground, stunned. Kai helped him up. You're strong, he said. But strength without control is just chaos. Colt didn't reply. But he didn't argue either. As Kai walked out, a hand reached for his arm. It was Colt again. I don't like apologizing, he said, but you earned my respect. Kai shook his hand. Then Blake appeared. You serious? He snapped at his brother. You're siding with him? Colt stared at Blake. You pulled a knife on a student. Don't talk to me about sides. Kai didn't say a word. He just walked out. The next day, the halls buzzed differently. No more whispers of challenge. Only of awe. That's the kid who dropped Colt. He moved like a shadow. I heard his mom trained pro fighters. Kai ignored it all. At his locker, a tall man stood waiting. Crew cut. Black track jacket. Stern expression. I'm Coach Turner, he said. I run the school's athletic programs. Kai nodded. I saw the footage. You've got talent. Kai tilted his head. So I want you on the school's MMA team. I don't fight for trophies. You be teaching other students to defend themselves. No trophies. Just lessons. And discipline. Kai hesitated. Then nodded. All right. I'll come. That afternoon, he stepped into the gym. Not for a fight, but to train, to teach, to grow. From that day forward, Kai Dun wasn't just the new kid. He was the student who reminded everyone what strength truly meant. Not fists or muscles, but focus, honor, and heart. And he never had to say a word to prove it again.